It was that my spine's a metal pole that I'm rotating my body around. So if you can rotate while keeping your head still from both angles there, this one and this one, well, all that tells you is that your hips, your shoulders are rotating on plane. I feel like my belt just stays right on my belt line. You feel that? That's the direction those hips travel. Here's the big thing. When you watch, if I frame his lower body and you watch him turn, he's turning right around those fixed points. If I frame your lower body here, watch your lead hip. See that lead hip there? Mm-hmm. When that lead hip drops that far, okay, that doesn't coil your body appropriately. So when you think about it like this, if you look at like your right pocket right here, okay, we put a line right here. You look at his right pocket. His turns directly inside the imaginary wall right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, yours just slides right into it. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, on the way through, here's what we're going to have to get back to. Okay, we're going to have to slide back there. And a lot of times what that does, it gets the lower body out ahead of the arms and hands, and the arms and hands come in late and try to save it. And that's where like you don't compress it as much, the thin contact and not being able to really hit down and through it. When he is already posted up the way he is, okay, his femur's only going to move over half a hip width, and he's going to match it right up on the outside of his left leg. It's a very small distance to travel. So what can he spend time doing? Rotating. And that rotation allows him to hit down on top of the golf ball and cover it with his upper body. The problem is for most players, when they have their hips shift like this and they drop down, they're going to have to shift back this way and slide up. And what happens to the upper body? It goes from being this way to tilted back that way. And what happens is when that hip drives back forward, it just leaves the upper body behind. And that's why you're contacting it behind your left leg like that, with your shoulders pitched up in the air. Whereas you look at where he is, he can rotate and look at his upper body hit down on top of the golf ball there. All right? So one of the things is you'll see at this frame right here, see how yours is already on the ascend, your arms and hands?
And my chest is behind the ball. Mm-hmm. At impact, at least.
You're like this, right? Everything's already going up. Everything's going up. He's in it, you know. His shoulders are still up a little bit because it's just opening, but they're more level. His hands and his golf club are striking down. And that's just simply because his left hip maintains in the position the entire time. And here's the thing. This hip right here, the reason that stays there is not because it just holds. It's because my right cheek turns into my left one. So just learning how to get the turn down and understanding that when you set up, you know, if this is the midpoint right here, we're going to just leave your sternum here and shift your lower body over. Now what that does is it puts me in a position to where I can turn that pocket right behind me here and get this look more at the top of the swing rather than that look. And I'm going to give you the whole routine. I'm going to show you how it works. I get the lines right there go into the mirror. Why do I like those? Because guess what? After I have a good setup, my chest should turn to the inside of this foot on that line and then rotate and cover it and be on that line without my head ever having to move side to side. Just some rotation. All right, ready? How that's possible. Hips an inch forward, sternum remains still. See that? Upper body's at an angle now. I can turn perfectly and match that line. Your goal, right pocket back, right shoulder behind my head. There's the look. Put the club across your chest. Stand up straight. Give me that hip bump like this. Inch to the left. There you go. But leave this upper body back there. There you go. Now tilt over. See, that's where it's going to be big for you. More this way, you know what I mean? On the balls of your feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
The big part will be not falling on my face.
It feels like you're doing a face plant, right? Mm-hmm. Look up in the mirror. Ready? That look right there. For you, one of the best tips I can give you is feeling like your right knee stays inside your right foot the entire time. Somebody, think about this. Think about this logically. We can make this super easy. For somebody whose right knee goes that way, and whose lead shoulder goes that way? Well, what's the opposite? Let's keep the right knee on the inside of the foot. Let's get the left shoulder over the right knee. That's a great little feeling for the upper body and lower body to marry that perfectly. Think about this. I can go right on this seam right here. I look down visually and I see my knee is on the tile side there, just inside that carpet. I'm going to get my shoulder right over that knee. It's going to stay there, and I'm going to get the shoulder right over it. Boom. And I can feel so much pressure down the inside of that leg, and that's the look we're looking for.
Okay, now, where this club handle is pointing right now,
Ideally,
should I be trying to get down more?
not down, just around.
Around.
Here's what I mean by that. Bump the hip more. Here's around. Ready? Up there. See how much more range of motion you have when you're up there? Here's why. Kevin and I see this a lot. There's been a lot of teaching.
Yeah, everybody's teaching on tilt.
Down. Well, here's the thing. They're assuming the player is coming out of their posture and their backswing. You know what's funny? That's like a 1 out of 25 lesson for me. We see it all here. We see, 60, 70 a week. And let me tell you, it's a 1 out of 25 that I see somebody actually go like that. There's a T-spine. There's my spine angle. And there's a shoulder plane that's perpendicular to that. Whatever that is the direction you should turn in. So my whole point is, if my shoulders are pointed with the proper tilt, if they're pointed 2 feet above the golf ball, well, guess what? At the top of the swing, they should point 2 feet above the golf ball. So that's something that's important. So when you're getting into the spine angle from this perspective here, there's my shoulder plane. I'm just turning around that. And here's the nice thing. When you guys watch me from the face-on view, my ability to rotate and not have my head move, you see how my head just doesn't move? Well, not only am I holding my spine angle from this perspective, but this one here, ready? That's me obviously not changing my spine, which is allowing my head not to move. That's why head still's even a thought. I never thought about the head staying still. It was that my spine's a metal pole that I'm rotating my body around. So if you can rotate while keeping your head still from both angles there, this one and this one, well, all that tells you is that your hips, your shoulders are rotating on plane relative to your spine angle and the setup that you've set up in. So your ability to get in here and get your chest over the inside of this foot and not see my head move anywhere to do that is very important. For you to see your head be able to stay in the same spot here will tell you that your shoulders rotated on plane. But here's the thing, if I go like this, or if I go like this, well, that's directly impacting that. So for you, once you're in here, we should be able to lock in this setup. I should be able to hold on to your head, and you should be able to rotate right around those fixed points. Boom. And as you turn more around, that pressure should build right down the inside of that leg into that heel, into that foot. From there, you have this post now. So what could you do? Your left hip doesn't have to spend so much time sliding. It can start rotating, and you cover the golf ball, and you have an ability to rotate through it. Watch this look. The ability to get chest from instep to instep. And the amount of lower body bump that happens during the swing is from here, half a hip width over, and doesn't even have to be worked on. It's already there because the pressure's in the right spots to begin with. And here's the thing. You getting your left shoulder behind the ball, and here's the ball, right? This is where the ball is. Get your left shoulder behind that ball to the top of the swing. Notice how we're doing that actually without swing. Most people hear that. What do? Here we go. Boom. And guess what? They go this way, and the left shoulder actually drops down this way. But it's keeping that hip in the right position and then turning. That gets that lead shoulder way back behind it. There we go. Much better, much better, much better. Watch my left hip. I'm gonna go right down the line from you guys here. So I'll go slow. Watch it go on the way through. See where I finished over here? More around. And that pocket really opened up. That's what you're gonna need to feel more, because think about what you felt in the past. Your hip dropped and then shifted. No opening up. So you with a new swing, getting everything on plane, if you don't open up, you're just gonna block it out to the right most likely, because of the fact that your body just stays facing the golf ball. You bring this good position down and it just stays right there. So now it's gonna be more about, from here, feel everything face the target more. Personal feeling, go to the top of your swing. I feel like my belt just stays right on my belt line. You feel that? That's the direction those hips travel. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's a personal feeling that's always worked for me. I take my belt buckle and it stays right on the equator of my world. And that helps me with the direction of which my hips should travel. Beautiful. Beautiful. Good job. My hips are right over my ankles here. When I stand up straight, I know that these guys are in line. When I tilt over, I keep them in line. And I flex down, I also keep them there. Most people will do this wrong. They push back and flex and sit down more. And I'm the guy who's like, no. Start straight, because it's gonna keep them there. Go over the balls of your feet. Flex down. A great checkpoint besides the hips over the ankles are the shoulders enough past the toes. You can hang your palms down and you should be able to point a good 3 inches, 4 inches past your toes there. Now what that's gonna help, watch my hands. Look how they're lower and look at the angle between my lead arm and the club. Just me turning this angle back creates that amount of hinge. Is bumping without, look, I'm standing up straight. My hips are guaranteed over my ankles. Okay, watch. Bump. And then what? Straight down over the balls of my feet. Not push back and sit back. So that, yes, like you're 100% spot on with that, but I want to see you do kind of these together. 1, 2. And yes, you're going to feel a lot more up in the balls of your feet with your chest down. Okay. But what I want to see you do is I want to see you put that that set position in a position of strength. I want you to feel like you actually are in a strong position there. And you're not just rehearsing it like this. Watch what happens with this rehearsal. If my coach were behind me, I didn't know I was supposed to hit it, and he was going to say hit it after I stopped, and I had to react. Well, if I'm just doing the set position and I'm not really engaging, it's like hit it. Well, there's nothing there. But if you get in here like this and you say, okay, well, hey, here's my set position. Go. Totally different, right? And that's what I want you to do every time you rehearse it. I want you to feel like you actually have it in a spot to where if you rotated and swung through, you get some pop to it. Because that's going to be your way of going from here all the way to the top and being in a real strong position that's going to allow you to hit it the right way, okay?
Good.
At which the point at which they started, so it's like if your hands are at that point right there, yeah, you're getting the club outside this, but here's the thing. You're keeping your hands inside this. Feel that? Turn to the top like that a couple times. And guess what? Your hands would come back down underneath that too. Feel that? As you come into impact right there, exactly. Do that again. And right underneath. So go to the top and stop. I want to show you something. I mentioned something to you earlier about the way you rotate. Your hand should be able to return back underneath this with your hips rotating in a way that never gets closer to me. Exactly. So the reason why people would go like this and go outside that is because typically, when they rotate, their hips are moving closer to the ball, so it decreases that space. You need to get in there and understand, okay, hold on. Ideally, At Forzak Golf, we take a lot of pride in having developed some of the best and most consistent golf swings on the planet. We do this through simplicity. Our Full Swing Masterclass will take you on a step-by-step, easy-to-understand process on how to get your golf swing better than ever. Join the many before you who've utilized our Full Swing Masterclass to take their games to the next level and beyond.